Imagine that. I'd rather
Hello,
go to
everybody.
a Star Trek.
And it's time to Star Trek and chill. Anne-Marie and Larry were talking about GalaxyCon. Melissa and I don't really know anything about it, so we were just sitting quietly.
I know that Terry Farrell's is there.
Oh yeah.
That's all we need to know. So everybody, we're going to be talking about GalaxyCon. We're going to talk about the LA Comic-Con. We're going to get into talking about Prodigy. Also, you know what? With the cooling weather, I think it's time to talk about everybody's favorite soup. Favorite soup. And I don't mean like Superman. We mean the... Everybody, we have Dr. Trek here. Larry NEMECEK. Can you believe our luck?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I think I have the wrong room. Hold on just a second. I was looking for the argument clinic. Okay. Well, if you're asking favorite soups, is it okay if I say plomeek, or is that not crossing streams? Okay.
Excellent. Plomeek soup, hot.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
Also, Melissa Longo is here.
Hi.
Ooh, we can kind of see some apps on your phone too. We could snoop a little bit.
You want to look?
No.
That's my phone.
Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel is here all the way from New York City.
Oh yeah, riding the high of the Broadway World nominations for my Star Trek recurring party, or to probably go, which I'll talk about more on how to vote for us later.
Nice.
Okay.
And my name's Ryan.
I have to tell you,
you don't
Larry,
have to vote
I'm
for
going
me
to tell
for
you all
anything.
about this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you tell everybody. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to start now because I mentioned it, and it's so amazing that Star Trek in any capacity is in the actual Broadway World.
Wait. I just remembered something. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
you
sorry.
guys, we have to first address what we are drinking. I was leaning back in my reclining seat and listen to the story, and I realized we haven't done the one thing that we have to do, which is we tell everybody what we're drinking today. So everybody at home, let us know, what are you drinking? What are you thinking? I myself am having a bubbly watermelon fizzy water beverage out of my Beverly beverage container.
Yes, watermelon.
It's a beverage vessel.
It's a bubbling Beverly beverage.
Bubbling Beverly.
I need a straw with
That
mint
is so
frosting.
cute. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Amazing reference with the straw.
What are you drinking, Melissa Longo?
I have two beverages.
What?
One is sparkling cider, and it's only half a glass because it's so sweet that I need to wash it down with water.
Lambda quadrant water.
Lambda quadrant water. So
yeah.
It's so sweet.
What about you, Anne-Marie? What are you drinking? What are you thinking? Well, we know what you're thinking. What are you drinking?
Black cherry White Claw.
Nice.
I switched from watermelon to black cherry. I decided it's like the winter version. Yeah.
You've earned it. Larry, are you enjoying a beverage today?
I am. You know, I forgot your protocol here since I just stumbled into the room.
So did I, apparently.
I've got to remember that for next time. And you said black cherry. Black cherry was like our old, like when we were kids, that was like our favorite Kool-Aid flavor. But it's like black cherry is the flavor that goes under the radar until you.
I know. It's delicious.
It goes with everything. Everything.
I just have a simple Diet Dr. Pepper. I forgot to even douse some rum in it. And since apparently Diet Coke Splenda, since Splenda doesn't in a drink doesn't eat your brain quite as fast as aspartame, it's like a dead thing. It's extinct. So that's the best I'm doing. But I'm in a Portal 47 glass. So
excellent.
Nice.
That's the key right there. And I'll tell you what Travis Taylor is drinking: Vietnamese coffee. That stuff is strong, bro. You better be careful. It's nighttime. What are you doing? That's going to keep you up all night. Vietnamese coffee. Don't go around. John Patrick Green is enjoying the blood of his enemies. War Dog Heim is drinking ginger beer, all natural with pure cane sugar and non-alcoholic. Linda Anderegg is drinking same old diet cherry Pepsi. John Patrick Green says it's also a good soup, the blood of his enemies. Nice. I once saw a goose soup. We'll have to talk about that in a moment. Goose blood soup. J.R. Poole is drinking peach lemonade mixed with Dream World Coke. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good, I think. May Borello, strawberry lemonade, yum. Chuck A, drinking a wonderful cup of cool water made of H2O.
Oh, that's not what that means. Made of.
That's what it's
Science-y version of water.
That's what it's made of. Back of the head, our good buddy John Orchiola of Screen Rant is drinking cheap whiskey, Point Rider brand, $10 bottle at Ralph's. Never heard of that one. Let us know how it is. Bob D's drinking Coke. Aaron is drinking coconut and strawberry sparkling water. Robert Kaiser says, I think I should get me some tea from Fresh Peppermint. I'm cold. I'm not getting sick. Or I hope I'm not getting sick.
Yeah.
And Galinda is having some raspberry simple syrup added to her Nuka Cola. Okay. Great. Oh, and Robert Kaiser says Portal 47 rocks.
True.
All right. Anyway, Anne-Marie, thank you for your patience. Please continue with your story.
So I'm on the board and help with weekly Star Trek viewing parties. So we always do like drag musical numbers with Heather Wood and guests like Jackie Cox or Flip Kiki.
Nice.
And Heather Wood is famously the Janeway and Dr. Crusher queen. So they do musical numbers every week at an iconic gay bar, Barracuda downtown, every Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. now for a year and a half, because we keep having all this new Star Trek. And we have like 2-for-1 drink specials, bingo. And we got nominated for a Broadway World Cabaret Award as one of the best cabaret shows in all of New York. And I think 8 or 10 are nominated, most of them run by people actually on Broadway. And it's a People's Choice Award. So every single person in the audience can go and vote for us. So it's pretty exciting.
Audience as in global internet audience, or?
Yes. Yeah.
How and where? How and where can they do this voting? So if you follow
our To Proudly Go social medias, or you don't even have, I mean, it's great if you follow, but if you're not a follower, you can just click on the link for Broadway Worlds. It's the New York region, the like main one. I think the link goes right there. They just need your email. You don't have to opt in for newsletters or anything. Just go. It's a lot of categories, I know. So just click through and say, there are 2 categories. The best drag performer, Heather Wood, it says To Proudly Go. And then best recurring show of all New York City, To Proudly Go with Heather Wood. So we're pretty psyched about that. It's amazing marketing and just an amazing honor to be nominated.
Great
and then
job.
While you're there, also vote for one of my best friends, Jennifer Pace, for best piano bar vocalist.
Haven't you been spearheading this whole thing for To Proudly
maybe
Go?
I nominated us.
You did a great job.
But they did like check it out and fact check it and decide that we do deserve to be nominated.
Yes.
Okay. So you're vetted. Okay.
We're vetted, and they're also going to start coming to our parties to like check it out. They were like, because all the parties fundraise for great causes. We raised over $1,000. I think we raised $1,500 for Pop Culture Hero Coalition, over $1,000 for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, $1,000 for some of the different food pantries in town, and our next one for the Bacard parties is going to be the huge God's Love We Deliver food pantry. That's one of the oldest ones in New York. That's run by an amazing LGBTQIA plus community, and they're backed by celebrities like Whoopi Goldberg and a bunch of other cool ones. We thought that's fitting for the Bacard shows, but make sure to check that out. And you can also just find it on BroadwayWorld.com. It's the Cabaret Awards. So it's been a very wild ride / exciting week.
Wow. Very nice. And I feel like a bum. Yesterday I was wearing my To Proudly Go shirt. I should have worn it today instead.
And also shout out to Lambda Quadrant, because they're like our sister organization. So we have like some crossover with our board, but we're a charitable
Show 'em, Melissa.
501c3 nonprofit. And it's just a very exciting time.
Yeah, there's paint on my cup.
Said the rugby
but
painter.
Also, there's just like so much amazing crossover between Broadway and Star Trek. I just love that it's finally getting out there and there's awareness building, and we can tap into that like there's a massive amount of what Larry calls armchair fans, I feel like, in the Broadway community that we can really help bring into fandom. So I'm very excited.
Well, that's awesome. See, I have to hand that off to you all because I can't do anything from we'll support anything we can do, but that's the NASA crossover is something that we're a lot closer to out here in the Midwest. Cool. But yeah.
And I will say Broadway World is also doing an LA regional awards, and Bonnie Gordon's up for a couple from some shows she's done. So while you're on Broadway World, after the main cabaret awards, look for the LA regional and vote for her.
Is that an audience popular favorite too?
So
we can vote for Bonnie in something?
Yes.
We can vote for Bonnie also? Okay.
Yes, and actually Issa Briones is up for one as well.
We just need a list. We just need a massive list to get out to everyone.
I know. It's very exciting. I'm not sure if LA's is still open, but like Bonnie was tweeting it. I was trying to get it out, but the New York, I'll have to say, like the New York ones are their flagship, and it is the hugest honor to have like a Star Trek thing on the board. It's very exciting. So it's been a big week. Got announced Monday.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. So if people want more information on this, can they just go to your Twitter and you've retweeted or tweeted there something? What's the easiest way?
Right now. I'd say the easiest way, it is every third tweet, but I would say the easiest way, well, not when Aaron Wolke's going crazy on Twitter, which I think he just did. But the easiest way is to go to @ToProudlyGo on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. And we have all the links there, and then just look for To Proudly Go. And also my friend Jennifer Pace for Best Vocalist at Pianoverse.
Okay, and everybody, we just added that
thank you.
handle in the live chat. So check that out.
There we go.
Hookah is also in the live chat. Rob Marr, we see you. Dave Gregory, hello, everybody. Welcome to the fun. Larry NEMECEK is here because we are very fortunate. I don't know what we did to deserve. Actually, wait a minute. Larry,
I asked
you also have been very fortunate. You've got Ira Stephen Bear on your show. Is that right?
Yes. So, well, it's our big annual event in Portal and Trekland. Well, aside from all the other big things, but the big thing for Portal alone is the open house that I have, where we open it up and it's free to everybody, where we kind of sample what the monthly package is like. So we do an Ask Dr. Trek roundtable, which is kind of an open mic, and we just talk like everybody does. And if people want to ping me for something, they can. But I try to throw something. Everything I do, I try to throw something in that's not just there's 82 places where people are talking about it. I mean, something that maybe nobody's thought of or recognized or realized. So anyway. But of course, the other part is having a behind the scenes guest. Love all the actors, but they get enough attention. And the behind the scenes people are the people that really make the Star Trek that you know then and now. So anyway, open house is like the pinnacle, and it's all free. And this year, yes, Ira is our open house guest. I've had Renee Echevarria, and last year was Mike McMahon. Go down to Mike Westmore, David Livingston. I mean, the first guest was Robert Butler that directed The Cage, who is still with us, which was awesome.
Oh, I love listening, dropping on your interviews with Robert Butler.
Wow.
So anyway, just on my LarryNemecek.com, you can get to the link, but it's Wednesday. The first hour is roundtable, and we're also doing door prizes. So that's why I'm having people register so we can give away live prizes. And then that's at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, and then an hour later, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern is Ira for a nominal hour. But if we get him going, maybe he'll last a little bit.
So everybody, we have a poll in the live chat. Something that somebody said reminded me of this. And the question is very Star Trek related. The question is, what is the most popular sport in China? China. What is the most popular sport in China? Is it ping pong, gymnastics, soccer/football/footy, or basketball/basketball? Go ahead and tabulate your votes, everybody, if you want. And if you don't want, whatever.
That's LarryNemecek.com, right, Larry?
Yes, LarryNemecek.com. Right.
I'm putting that in the
There's a big smiling picture of Ira up there now from a room party.
Oh, I saw
smiling.
that.
What did you do? Did you tickle him?
It was,
Okay.
12 o'clock at Vegas. So what can, who knows? But I blocked me out to put him in. So yeah. So that's next Wednesday. So everybody, but you don't need a lot of advance time. Just jump in.
Well, we already started sharing the link for that in the virtual TrekCon groups too. So it's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay,
Boy, our poll is
your
neck
other
and neck.
projects too, Larry, because there's so much amazing stuff going on. Like, let's just for example, Cadet Alice, and also the LA Trek Nation tour.
Did you see what we did? We've
this
got
merch.
Wow.
We have some merchandise. Yeah.
Didn't Aaron Wilkie say he's ordering that shirt?
Yeah, I was going to get him one, and he ordered one. So, but those are TeePublic. My stuff is on TeePublic because at one time TeePublic had the Star Trek connection. But they've had an almost eternal 3-week-long 35-40% off sale. Anybody with a TeePublic store. So
cute.
Everything is cheaper right now.
Alice is just the cutest. She's 6 or 7 now.
She is 6.5. So yeah.
So cute.
Can you tell everybody about Alice that may not know in the live chat?
So Alice is my granddaughter, and she's
Larry had kids when he was 9.
Actually, I married into all my kids, but they're all awesome. But so she's the oldest grandkid, and which is weird to say still coming out of your mouth. But no, she's really, she's just awesome. She's just cute and clever and very verbal, and she looks like
is A+.
And she's still a kid though. So sometimes, something, she thinks something is silly when it's just kind of weird. But thank you, Prodigy. I've been yelling for 20 years, if we're going to sell any action figures if we're going to generate a Star Trek fan base besides just reproducing, we need to start fresh and have some help. And Prodigy's finally there, even more than Lower Decks is. So, and now Prodigy's, maybe we talk about this. Prodigy is just as I knew it probably was going to be a lot more than just a kid's show. Anyway, so we do a little 12-minute when I can get her once or twice a weekend with a gap. But we've done the first 11 shows we've reviewed. We sit down and talk about each Prodigy episode now. And I think it's evolving where the first time, things will come out of her mouth. Like we were talking, I always want to say Moogie, not Moogie, but the Ferengi woman who had kidnapped Dal. And I said something about, well, that's just weird. So she had kidnapped him before and then she got rid of him. And she goes, yes, parents should not sell their kids.
She's just the sweetest.
And I'm like, yes, absolutely. That should not happen. But I think Gwen, the first time I said, well, who's your favorite character? And she said, Gwen. And I said, why? She says, I like her style.
Yeah, I love when she talks about Gwen's style. It gets me every week.
Yes. And you go, so anyway, stylish. So I can't, we see her maybe once a month. So I try to do a couple. So we're behind, but it's just awesome. So I wanted to do a little design thing. So it's on my YouTube channel,
Brilliant.
It's amazing.
But that's a highlight
of YouTube.
Can you show us, I don't know if it's movable, but right over your right shoulder, there's a poster of, I guess we've got the reverse image, your left shoulder, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There's a poster of all these faces and people.
Oh, that. Mm-hmm. Oh,
Portal
that's
47
the thing. It's a paper version of what I did for cons to show. This is
I love
that guy.
Trying to give an idea of I've been doing this is our 7th. I mentioned the open house, and I do that for the anniversary as an event. This is starting the 7th year, and when I started in 2015, people didn't know what we're doing right now. You had to explain that to people. that was half of the the marketing. But no, I just said, look who's joined us in the portal, and this is just some we've had basically 12 a year for 7 years, and it's all here's Mike from Bob Butler
and Dan Curry.
Jarvis.
But Renee. Larry, out of all those people, who was the nicest?
Oh, Wendy News.
Was the nicest.
Wow.
Yeah, I was the one that got Wendy over the hump of talking.
That's awesome.
She would talk on the Voyager documentary.
I want to meet her so badly. She went to my college.
Who was the nicest? Cool. Well, I used to always say that, where is he on here? I used to always say Mike Westmore, nicest guy in Hollywood.
Oh.
But no, they're all, by the time I get them, they're all good.
Yeah, so humble. Talk about like
Steve
coming from a
Jericho
dynasty.
was a security guard on Voyager and Enterprise, and you could just sit him in a corner, and 24 hours later he would still be telling stories about actors and crew people and everything. He has this amazing and funny, and but that's what, if you look at all the fields, I've got stand-ins, extras, executive producers, and writers. But the point is, I think craft service is about the only thing I need to find Paco.
Aaron, and you had Robert Hewitt Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Robert was an open house. Yeah.
And Karen
Dave Glass is awesome.
Karen was Armin's makeup artist on the show.
And Andrea was Mark Cushman interviewed her for his books. But after that, I was the one that got Andrea out 7 years ago. And we tried to get her on stage at Vegas, and we did this year. And now the world is kind of
awesome.
She was Gene Coon's assistant on the original series.
Epic.
Plus being an amazing icon for civil rights. And I mean, she was a young girl in the 60s, and she knew Malcolm. And
wasn't she like his driver?
Yes.
Amazing. Oh my God.
She's lived in Australia and missed a lot of this, but she just wrote her book, and her book's coming out, and she did a sample. She did this sample book at Vegas, and she may have a few copies left. She had like 200 of these printed for Vegas, but she's got her whole life memoirs coming here next month or so. Well, but anyway, the point is, I did that because we love the actors. We love our actors, but like Star Trek is so much more than that. And I tell this story when I was at Starland in Denver, like the first time I got to go to a big real Trek con. I think it was Jonathan on stage, and people in the audience it's a Q&A. And he got into this joke pattern where he would say, you know what, that's a Dan Curry question. Or you know what, that's a Michael Westmore question. Or that's a Herman Zimmerman question. And I'm sitting in the audience going, then why aren't they on stage? Because then I answer my own question and say, because there'd be like 10 people buy a ticket. Like no one cares. Well, it's gotten better.
I don't think that's true.
The internet's
they're like the names we've read for our whole lives on the credits. It's just fascinating. And like the amazing thing about Portal 47 is that there are so many people who like literally only you can get. And then to like have access to them, it's just amazing. So, I mean, I can't recommend it enough. And then also, it really like shows how much you learn, because then when there's trivia nights, everybody who wins is always a Portaler. Like, you've trained
I was going to say, whoa, what is this? Ooh, it's a little brisk out here.
Our holodeck program.
There we go.
It
doesn't work.
I was going to say, the only thing I'll top that with, Anne-Marie, is a lot of people don't know to ask them, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Especially like while we have them in life to talk about all of this amazing stuff. It's just such a gift to have that.
Yeah.
You do good work. You do
work. I'm going to take a quick pause because everybody's in the live chat is demanding. They're like, okay, we get it. You're on a ski lift, whatever, real cute. But what's the answer to the most popular sport in China? Well, when Larry said you guys can ping me, it reminded me that I did look up just very recently the most popular sports around the world, just because I want to see, exactly how well soccer fares. And it's basically what you'd expect. I mean, it's like 85% of the world soccer is the biggest sport. But in China, it is ping pong.
Okay.
Basically all of Asia, all of Europe, all of South America, all of Africa, it's soccer. But then there's China by itself that's like, no, ping pong's number one, punks.
See, I was thinking this was a trick question, like you were expecting people to say ping pong or expecting them to even say foot. So I said basketball because basketball came on hard. But ping pong,
it's getting very big over there now.
I'm going to show my years here, but when Nixon went to China, the first thing they did was they had it was Red China, and no one went to China. It was like behind the wall. But the first thing they did was they arranged a U.S.-China ping pong tournament to kind of break the ice. And that was
China
the big, like,
destroyed
and that was
us.
They did, but it was the shocking. Oh my God, we're talking to. It'd be like doing it with North Korea now.
Wasn't Forrest Gump in that tournament?
So yeah,
you've studied your history, young lady.
Talk about deep dive, yes.
Mm-hmm.
classic films. That's history too.
But there you go.
So,
thank you,
Larry.
Don't take my word for it. Forrest Gump said so.
I was hoping to ask you, Larry, not taking out this most recent episode of Prodigy, yesterday's episode 16, Preludes to Axanar, I believe is what it was called. No, but
in the room before the review. Yeah.
Whoa.
No, but the first 15 episodes so far, what are your thoughts on Prodigy? Do you love it? Do you love it a lot? Are you laughing at it? Are you surprised by it? What's your overall take on this show?
It's like I didn't know anybody working on. I've gotten to know Aaron now and met the Hagemans, and I knew the Benson sisters. I hadn't really met anybody that was working on the show, so I didn't know. Like Mike, I had met before Lower Decks. I'm like, guys, don't worry, this is going to be awesome. But I knew they weren't this. The Hagemans had a track record. They'd done Troll Hunters, or so they had some other shows. And I just thought, okay, it's going to be for kids, and they say it's going to fit into canon, and people don't believe that, because how can you have a kids show worrying about canon? And I'm like, it'll be soft. It'll be like baby steps into canon, but it'll be there. It won't just be some rando thing that won't fit in anywhere. And I was pretty about that. And the first few episodes, and it started off very Star Warsy, which I was like, but then they rapidly didn't. And I thought, well, that was maybe, pulling the kids in, that they're used to seeing Star Warsy types of. But this second batch of 10, well, the first ones ended that way when they started pulling up all the old holodeck characters, and but this last batch, it's like, this is, and I've said this on Tuesdays Live and on my little second opinion series, like Prodigy is even more subversive than Lower Decks. Lower Decks is like, they're referencing every other series, and that's why it's awesome. And you get the weeks when you just are Easter egging everything with frame caps, but Lower Decks is like developing its own characters too, and having a lot of fun with it, and pulling up these things from across the series, even without going to DS9, and there's Quark and Kira. But Prodigy is just one of my hashtags is Prodigy is just in the time frame using the universe. It's like, here's the story about these kids. And talk about Forrest Gump, it's almost like they're kind of Forrest Gumping their way, bumping into things, but it doesn't take over the universe of their story. It's like, oh, they were on a Borg cube, and then in the wake of the Borg show, everybody's talking about, wait, did they just wake? Is that the cube that Rana and the Romulans take on as the artifact later? Like how? Like what is it? And the next week, he said, Tyus, the Andorian first officer, says something about they're at the neutral zone. He says, we can't just go in the neutral zone. What about the negotiations? And I'm like, and they didn't mention it more. I'm like, wait, what wait, let's check our times. Oh, look, it's a year before the synth attack on Mars. Brilliant. He means the negotiations to evacuate Romulus. We're
Such
into the whole,
these guys.
So it's great for kids, but they are so subvert. And now half of the last episode was with the real Janeway and her real crew doing real Prime universe. It's not the kids and their, the kids are sitting around telling backstory stories.
No, Scott, that was so like that Voyager episode 11.
So my thing on Prodigy is like, not only is it for it's feeding a lot of people who are hungry in between Picard or don't even think Picard did a good, although I think season 3. It's like Prodigy is like secretly the series that everybody wanted all along, just to move the universe along with. Right. But it's also for kids. So that's and they're all very sly about it.
As Ryan always mentions, it's more of a family show than like just a kids show, because as you said, it's so wonderful to see Prodigy move the universe along. We're learning more about this universe that we've invested so much of our lives in. And it's so wonderful to explore something new in that universe. It's fun to do Easter eggs here and there, but the story does focus on this new group of people and their relationship with Starfleet, which is awesome.
But they've even answered like once and for all, even though Picard got back to the Borg in a big way.
Even the Tellarite hoof thing. Yes. I was like, that's so Larry's.
No,
tell us about that, Larry.
When they announced,
because you and I have worn Tellarite hooves, and there were not 5 fingers. There were 3 fat fingers.
We have, yes, we shared a hand.
Anne Marie's asking, you're going to tell her, right?
I said I already know the answer because I listen to hours of Larry NEMECEK on podcasts, but tell us, please. I know.
You're scary. No, we did. In fact, Ryan, I have pictures of us, Ryan, eating a pizza with pork on it. Now that as Tellarites, which is a little weird.
Wow,
Excellent.
cannibalism.
I know, right? No, it's not like I have a pig fetish. It's just from the original days, I was always mad because the Andorians and Tellarites never got any love for years. And like, can we talk about them? Can we talk? In the Berman era, it was like, oh, they're too weird. They're too original series 60s weird. And then finally Andorians. And so Andorians got love. And, thank you, Jeff Combs. But still, Telluride, and then when you would see them, they would be whatever that makeup in a movie, it'd be an extra in the back or something. Oh, here's a Telluride. Aren't you all thrilled? And it's like, no, can we have a character? Can we just have a character? And then when you'd see them, it would be once every 5 years and they'd change the makeup, whatever. And 5 fingers versus anyway, there's a million stories there.
On Enterprise, was it the makeup or was it the console had already been made? So it was like too late when they
you listen to me too closely. Yeah. They wanted to do a 3 on the one with the 2 Tellarite brothers that they were just random aliens, and Mike Sussman talked Brannon into letting them be Tellarites like at the last moment, but they'd already done the consoles and Mike Westmore was working on a cloven hand, but then they decided little tiny buttons would look ridiculous with a cloven hand, so they just went ahead and let him. But he had the thing molded. I have a picture of the mold that he was molding. Anyway, so now what's awesome is the whole attitude on everything on Lower Decks and on Prodigy is all the different. Like, this is what I was trying to say in the Klingon days, early Discovery. It's like you're going to have this happen, so the best way is just say species diversity, and that's And then when Picard said Northern Southern Romulans, I fell off my chair without telling you. They just dropped it in. So now when they announced Janeway's real crew and said there was a Tellarite doctor, much less that it's Jason Alexander doing a voice that is not Jason Alexander,
right?
And I was like, wait a minute, we've got 2 speaking Tellarite quasi-regular roles on this. And then the scene in Crossroads, what was this? The scene where Noam met Jankum and he had his little meta dance about finding another Tellarite. I was like, well, that's meta for, look, we've got 2 Tellarites talking to each other in the same. It was like a Bechdel test for Tellarites.
That's amazing.
I was like, this is amazing. So again, it's like, God, it took Prodigy to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Aside from everything else they're doing.
So everybody in the live chat, by the way, we do have a second poll now that we're having fun. It's Star Trek and sports and chill. The question is, what is the most popular sport in Australia? What is the most popular sport in Australia? The options are rugby, soccer, cricket, and Australian football. That's Australian rules football. Rugby, soccer, cricket, Australian rules football. I was surprised by this when I saw this a few days ago. Apparently, everybody in the live chat is not. You are correct. 48% of you are correct. It is cricket, actually. I thought it was going to be rugby.
Every Australian I know constantly would talk about cricket.
Why would they do that to themselves?
Their bats would be like in the car. I'm like, in Wisconsin, you're never going to need that.
Are they masochists?
Well, no, because that's where all of the English convicts took what they took with them. Mm-hmm. And cricket is huge in England.
Cricket was invented by them?
In England? That's
when they got sent to Australia?
And cricket's big in India too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
But it's not the biggest sport in India either. Or wait.
Is that an upcoming question?
No, I think it is actually.
I think it is. Have you seen the movie Once Upon a Time in India? So good.
No.
And like on BBC America or BBC.com worldwide service or whatever, they constantly are just talking about cricket, and it's usually Indian teams like getting to finals. There's so much about wickets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whatever, if they're bad or good, I still don't know. Yeah.
Well, I knew that because I watched all 4 seasons of Miss Fisher.
My gosh. I love that you love Miss Fisher too. I'm just such
Miss Fisher.
Miss Fisher.
And there was 1 or 2 episodes where they had a murder on the on the not soccer on the.
I'm so excited that Miriam Margolis is going to be on Doctor Who this coming season. Oh, I love her so much. Oh. I know, we love her. If you're a Miss Fisher fan, there's no way you don't love her.
Miss Fisher, she's the one with the hat, right?
She's like a 1920s flapper.
Yeah.
She's so awesome.
I've seen that too.
So we'll talk more about Prodigy. I want to talk more about Prodigy.
No, let's talk Miss Fisher.
It's sorry, I thought you guys were done. And by thought, I mean hoped.
No, it's like the whole series. It's like they are perennially stuck in 1929 Melbourne, Australia. So it's like everything is at the height of the Roaring 20s before the crash happens. It's like, it's funny. It's like the whole thing. It's like nobody ever ages in Archie or something. So, huh?
Like the Mrs. Maisel thing.
Yeah, I'm not like a big Mrs. Maisel fan.
I never saw it.
This is peak amazing. And the crazy thing too is like when you start watching Australian TV, we'll go back to Star Trek in a second. You realize like how much more lax their TV restrictions are. Like there's a lot of male genitalia talk, and there's a lot of like on the wall, they won't blur like nude pictures that are art. Mm-hmm. But like when you watch them on PBS, stuff is like bleeped out or cut out. And then also they'll blur like women's portraits and stuff. It's so fascinating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry. We can, that show is good. And like those early years are so real. I love that. Like some of those.
Not Mrs. Maisel. What is it? Miss Fisherton?
Miss Fisher Murder Mysteries. Mm-hmm. I mean, first of all, the wardrobe is just fantastic, but it's just like more gritty than usual real period crime dramas in a really cool way. And you learn a lot about like, just like the stripe, like immigrants going to Australia.
And they're all socially conscious too. They'll have there'll be a little social, it won't hit you in the face, but it'll be part of one of the threads of the show.
It is so good. Okay, sorry. And an
Star
Trek. Okay,
Melissa, you were nodding.
What?
You were nodding. You've seen it?
I've seen some of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I saw maybe the first series. I think that's what it's called because it's from Australia. But the first series, but it I had to stop because it got a little redundant to me. Some of the storytelling got a little repetitive. But no, I might check it out again. See. No. But
it's okay. It could be repetitive to you, Melissa. It's I love the period. We just discovered Foyle's War, which is 40s.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have said anything. Hi, Ryan. Star Trek.
I've like gone
Star Trek. You guys can talk. I've got nothing to add to it, but you guys can talk about Foyle's War. I don't even know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good show.
Level amazing.
I'm just mad it took 20 years to find it.
Yeah. It's like consistently rated by like sometimes Hollywood Insider and Variety will do like these under the radar like top TV shows ever. And anytime they do that, Foyle's War's on it. It is so good. Oh my, you learn so much about World War II, like what it was like to be living in England, being like constantly
little pieces
blitzed. Yeah. And it's a lot also about like how to solve the crime with like this crazy war looming overhead and like how things get muddled. It is such a masterpiece.
But what I loved was they would have 3 plots running and you never knew what would be the actual murder plot and what would be some war involved thing. And nothing was a throw. There were no like red herrings. Everything had its own arc. You just didn't know what was important and not important.
Yeah. And
anyway,
like
Star Trek.
I'm going to also say once you get years into it, that like you kind of start getting war fatigue. And it also kind of teaches you, obviously nothing can be the same as living through the Blitz for years, but like, you just start to feel like, oh my God, this like for them where the war started in 1939, it's going on forever. I'm getting tired of this. And then like they end the show like post World War II, where you also have to deal with like the rationing, which you don't realize like how much longer that went on for them. And then the Cold War. It is such a masterpiece. But okay, sorry.
Okay, Star Trek, Ryan.
Star Trek.
I will.
I did enjoy Mrs. Maisel, but that's all I'll say. I did very much.
I just started to watch season 4 finally, but yeah.
Oh, I haven't watched season 4 yet.
Yeah. And they're doing 5, and 5 is going to be the last. I think they just finished filming 5, but anyway. Nice. The characters are so cool.
Agreed.
So
All
warp
right.
drive. So transporters.
Well, no,
So
I've got another sports question. I'm having fun with these sports polls. Oh, you guys can talk about Miss Maisel, but I can't talk about very relevant sports stuff.
What is the most popular sport on Bejor?
What is the most popular sport
Handball.
in Venezuela? Is it soccer/football, baseball, softball, or archery? Soccer, baseball, softball, or archery. I'm so sorry. 64% of you are incorrect when you said soccer.
Archery seems like such a crazy one to include that I sort of feel like maybe I should vote for that.
Okay.
It's baseball, everybody.
Wow.
Baseball is the answer to that one. But no, Larry, I just want to ask you more about Prodigy. Yes, Melissa?
I was just going to say I went 2 for 3. I got the Venezuela wrong.
Don't worry, there are going to be more.
There's a lot of baseball
Great.
out of the Caribbean. There's a lot of
Exactly.
baseball players come up out of. Yeah,
That's right.
I just.
But Larry, so Prodigy, back to Prodigy, just because that's it's Prodigy season right now. What's been a favorite moment or episode for you in the Prodigy first 16 episodes?
Well, I mentioned one was the 2 Tellarites, actually the Bechtel for Tellarites moment.
Spoken like a true Tellarite.
And the 2 species diverse. Noam is like modern, Noam is the biker Tellarite with the tusks and everything that Discovery thought they had to do to look cool. And Jankum is a throwback where he's just got, but he's so short.
So much open for does Tellarite have some weird class system? I just need to know so much more about that. And if they do, how could they get in how are they in the Federation? I can't wait to know that.
Here is that last little bit about he was in a cryopod, and he said he was in a freighter before in pre-Federation days. So
so I swear Aaron Wilkie said it was 200 years. So I'm like,
I was going to say he's 200 years old, but he was in cryo for 200 years. I'm like, what is the? He went in there during the Romulan War?
A real sunny whatever cryostasis.
Okay, favorite moments. Well, just I don't know, because it's like because part of the time I'm watching Prodigy thinking like what tickles me, but I'm also thinking if they've actually got young kids watching it, what's gonna that's a good Star Trek way to get kids into Star Trek. With it, when Janeway just basically gets up and teaches Star Trek 101 the first couple episodes. Awesome. Only she does it the way you would never get in any other series, because every other series, it's like Gene said, like people wanted to know the tech manual was cool because here's a phaser drawing and here's a commit, but they would say never have your character stop and say, here's my phaser. Oh, Lieutenant, I'm going to fire my phaser. The trigger is here and the thing that's pile is. It's like you never do that. He'd say Matt Dillon never talks about his 6-shooter, and Joe Friday never talked about it. Yeah, show don't tell. But this is a case where they set it up where it's like, okay, school time, kids, and they talk about the Fed and the founders, and it's like it's just straight on, because it is kind of like school. It's like the school room you never saw from Keiko. But it's like it's the way to do it where it's just like you could make clips out of that and show it to people and like, well, here it's animated, guys, but ignore that and watch it. And it's like you've got all this condensed Star Trek background that you would never get that way across any of the other 50 years, in a little concentrated pill form. So I mean that was cool. But thinking about how it's landing with kids now, the Anson show that just happened was awesome, in the end of Garavik, and the fact that they're all cosplaying badly, and the fact that was that an inside joke about like John Cooley's gold green, the what's it shirts, that they were all wearing green, not gold. I thought that was funny, but that didn't land with her. I mean, it was interesting, and they had the exciting ending where they were fighting the dilithium, explosion, but that didn't resonate with Alice because
I was wondering how the hell when they that was the one episode where I was like, this is fun, but how are they even gonna know what's going on? Like, did they watch TOS to get these?
Well, that's where it felt like it was for all the adults.
Yeah, someone was like, it's for 12-year-olds who've been watching Star Trek for 30 years, which I mean, I don't agree with.
I know a lot of
Prodigy,
them,
but that one episode.
I know a lot of 12-year-olds that have been watching Star Trek for 30.
But it's cute. Maybe like, some of these episodes, it's like, well, then when because obviously we're going to have all of them go on to watch other series. So now when they watch the other series, that's just their gateway to recognize what's going on in the other series.
Oh, and you know what? The other huge moment I thought was the highlight of everything across it beat anything in all Star Trek, was Time Amok. When they not only had that cool time, it wasn't time travel, but it was a time, but then they had that graphic that totally made it.
Yes.
You understood it.
Yes.
Exactly.
The fading sine
Absolutely.
wave, I thought was so brilliant.
They did that so that all of us, we all just said, oh, I get it. I can see it, so I understand it.
It was that had to be the best visualization of an insane Star Trek plot point ever. Because everybody went, oh, I get it.
I love sine waves. It's so interesting to think about. That was just brilliant.
But it was also like the further away you were from the impact blast, the more further or behind, ahead or behind in time you are. It's like you totally got all three dimensions of it and understood what was going on and why it all fell on. And then you went like, oh my God, Rock Talk was in there for, what was she in there, 40 years? It's like, no wonder she has 9 university degrees now.
I was talking to Muhammad Noor about this too. Like, and this was before Prodigy came out. We were saying how sometimes being like, I studied biology, and obviously he did biology PhD, and also same for med school. Like, you would hear words on Star Trek, and then when you're like going through your science studies, you're like, oh, I heard that first on Star Trek. And it just like, because obviously we watch these episodes over and over, and I was like, think how cool it is for like these kids watching, who then when they get to calculus or trigonometry, or in this recent biology episode, when they get to like 9th grade biology and they're learning about like
DNA and the
bases
proteins
and like what goes together, like they'll have heard the words before, and then they get to have that, oh, I heard about this on Star Trek first moment. It is such a cool aspect of Star Trek that I feel like is very unique to Star Trek.
I thought hummus was some made up alien food for years because Dr. Bashir mentions it early in DS9. And then I was in a store, and I was like in California after we moved out here, and a couple years later, and somebody said, I'm bringing some hummus to this party. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess it's some, and then I'm like, oh, it's some, chic Mideastern thing, which it kind of was, but it isn't, it's not anymore. But
it's amazing.
Hummus is pretty good though.
Long live
reminds me of like some vegetarian joke meme or something where it's like early dinosaur parties, and it's got like some Tyrannosaurus carnivores, and they're like, oh great, who invited the vegetarians? And the Brontosaurus is like, we have hummus, something like that. Because they're sweet, right, Melissa? They're nice.
Yeah, they are.
That was not an alien. I thought it sounds like a Bajoran food, doesn't it? I thought it was just a Bajoran food they had on there.
Like Hasperat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, everybody, the question is, what's the most popular sport in Lithuania? Everybody listening in, people are voting on what's the most popular sport in Lithuania. The possibilities are basketball, soccer, skiing, and shooting. Once again, those are basketball, soccer, skiing, and shooting. 40% of you said shooting.
Well, target shooting, not knock off a liquor store shooting.
Yeah, but 24% of you said skiing, 20% of you said soccer, and only 16% of you got it correct. It's basketball. Everybody knows.
What?
Remember Sharunas Marshalonis, the great basketball player of the 80s?
Forget
the sixth man. There are a couple others from Lithuania, Latvia. There's Andras Biedrins from Latvia as well.
I think I checked my basketball brain at the door.
I detected this thread where the answer to none of these was going to be soccer. So I figured that out real fast.
Smart, Larry. But I thought the basketball one was a joke. Wow.
Well, which one's a joke?
Well, I just assumed like they do seem, I don't know. And all the period dramas, they're always going shooting in like Eastern Europe. And then also seems like skiing is so big in any country, anywhere. Like, I don't know how far you have to drive to be in like Alpsy or Alps adjacent hills. But
like, I bet skiing's the most, I bet Norway. I bet skiing is the most popular thing in Norway.
Or,
Sport. It's not soccer.
Or Switzerland. I don't know.
Or Switzerland. Skeet shooting might be Switzerland.
Right.
Actually, I was going to do Switzerland, but I'll just tell you the most popular there is actually skiing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
duh.
Good go.
But right now, what we've got is, what is the most popular sport in Turkey? Everybody knows 97% of Turkey is in Asia Minor, and 3% of Turkey actually resides in Europe, Southeastern Europe. That's not important, but the question is, what's the most popular sport in Turkey? The options are soccer, wrestling, running, or competitive lifting. Anyway, so Larry, what's your least favorite of the new Star Trek series?
I think least favorite's a very strong term.
Loaded question.
No, don't answer that. We love them all equally, especially Lower Decks.
What's the most favorite sport on? We love them all. Well, I think the further we get away from everything, it's easy, because we all sit around and talk about how the first couple of years of Next Gen were, and the first year of DS9, even they were highlights, but they were trying to find their footing, and you go through, all of it that way. And I think like Discovery is definitely one that I've said for years, it had a rough birth. It's gotten better every year. It's almost been a different series every season. I hear great things about the one they just finished shooting, the 5th season. So, and not that I hear that this season is not going to be, the universe is at stake like it's been the last 2 years. So, I don't know, my favorite of it. But I was just talking to my tech guy today. We were filling out my form. We were doing some tech stuff on my site, and he filled out a thing, and he put down Lower Decks as his favorite series. And I said, I know a lot of people that say Lower Decks is their favorite too. For one thing, it honors all the other ones. It's almost like everything else comes along if you like Lower Decks.
I'm amazed by people like going out so boldly saying it's their favorite when like they're
going boldly to say
they're boldly going. Yeah.
And they're proudly going.
There are people who have been fans for decades. I'm like, wow, I don't know that I'm ready to ever. I can't even choose one without the new Star Trek, much less be ready to. They're all just so good. I don't know how to choose. But Lower Decks is the one where you hear that. It seems like you're hearing that a lot on the internet.
Well, and I think the world is blowing up right now over Prodigy, these last 3 or 4 episodes. People are going, what?
Also, I've been like watching. I'm like, I literally cannot wait for my nephew to be old enough to have him start watching. Like, it is so special in this most recent one. Even the storytelling, I expected it to be so tropey when it started. I was like, oh, here we go.
Not at all, though.
Like, and they totally like flipped the script with like that, especially that rock talk story. I was like, I hate watching kids suffer. And so I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Like, it's just
come on.
sad.
You've never seen a kid running around in a restaurant and kind of hope that it would trip?
No, I just like anything like that. Like, or like kids
like it's running and screaming,
parents.
and you're
so,
like trip.
Or hope their parents tripped or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just so well done. Oh my gosh.
And nobody said a word about Strange New Worlds yet. So, oh my God, Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
So
we're loving it.
And that's just, I mean, and that is such a great one to show new fans. I feel like it's such a, like the best of all worlds. And the cast is just so incredible. I feel like that is one that you can show new fans to get them into it. Or new soon to be fans. Yeah.
Larry, I know we only have you for a couple more minutes before you gotta roll out. And again, the question is, what is the most popular sport in Turkey? Soccer, wrestling, running, or competitive lifting? On your way out, Larry, can you just go ahead and tell us about your show once more and where they can find it? And your very special guest. How did you get Ira Stephen Bear to say okay?
Well, I've, known Ira. Here's the funny thing. Of all the people I work with, especially back the Berman era, and having to push and shove and push the envelope, and when I edited Communicator and worked on fact files and did all this stuff on the lot, all those years, Ira was the only Star Trek person who ever actually yelled at me.
But
he was put up to it falsely, and he felt so bad about it later that he's always been.
Ooh, that's nice.
He's always been good about it. Yeah, no, maybe we'll bring that up. The people love the Star Trek 6 commentary that we did. There's a little bit of a story to that, but that was like not rehearsed or planned or anything. It just
so did you know Ira from the TNG years before the Deep Space Nine years?
When I was first doing the companion, I went in to interview him right when he'd started working on DS9, but I was interviewing him about creating Vosh and Captain's Holiday and his TNG stuff that he had done his year, the tortured season 3 year. And anyway, we'll talk about it Wednesday, but he had just gotten burned by another reporter. This is pre-internet, so it's not like there's something constantly out there to read. And another well-known reporter had just written a really crappy, trashy, took what he took and spun it around. And I walked in and he broke my head off. We'd never met. And Lolita had said, you should talk to Larry. He's doing the book, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, so are you going to take my words and screw them around and fuck me over? And blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I walked in the door, and like nice guy Okie me walked in the door.
Was that reporter Jake Sisko?
No. No, he was not.
No.
He's a troublemaker.
Whoa, that's scary.
But he was charmed by the time anyway. But no, so Wednesday, thank you for asking again. Wednesday is our annual open house. It's the 7th anniversary of Portal, which we do all year long. I say it's for all the Star Trek fans who have no idea how much Star Trek they still have no idea about. And I always try to pick, everybody is awesome, but I always try to get a really broad-based guest for open house when it's free that month. And we're trying to get new people to come in, and give them a sample. So it's out there, and that's Wednesday night, and go to my LarryNemecek.com and you can find the link to go. But the first hour is a sample of just our open mic kind of round table, and we'll just talk to everybody and see where they're coming from. And we'll do some giveaway. I've got some DVDs and Trek books to give away. So the first hour, and then Ira's at 7, huh?
Who doesn't love free samples? That's amazing.
Who doesn't? Well,
and I see a Murph in your background, by the way. I just noticed that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thanks to Anne Marie.
Good job, Anne Marie.
Yes, I had a priest steal that for you. I was like, there's a priest at Comic-Con who I love, who like
a priest stole it.
Yes. And so I was like, no one's gonna question a priest. So like he and I went for seconds.
Well, didn't it go from 1 million people in line to get those to like the last half hour they were out begging people to take them?
Yes, but they still kind of knew like if we were like weirdos who were like going back multiple times. And so I like recruited some people.
You're right though. Thank you.
Larry needs one, obviously.
Well, that's Alice's, but I'll tell you this too. So I did it on camera where I gave it to her and she freaked out and melted down. And then later that weekend when she left, I wanted to keep it here so it would always be here. And she like had a meltdown about she's fine now.
I wish I had a second for you.
Huh?
I wish I had a second for you. My like 2-year-old nephew keeps it in his crib and he's always like, Murph. We told him it's a space slug because it's very hard to like explain what it is. So he's always like, Murph. It's just really cute. Yeah.
I don't know if I like Murph coming out of his cocoon, but oh well.
Yeah, I know. I think this is my favorite of
spoilers.
Yeah.
But I got her an Alice t-shirt and she took that home. So
oh my gosh, that's so
anyway,
sweet.
But I better head out, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. This has been great. We appreciate you chilling with us and talking Star Trek and throwing all your sports knowledge at us.
All this sports knowledge. And the most popular sport on Bajor was spring ball. Spring ball. Okay, guys.
All right. Thanks, Larry.
Now it's baseball, I heard.
Thanks again. Yeah.
Oh. This is
okay, everybody. Trek well.
All right. So everybody at home, the answer to the poll, this was a tight one. 4% of you said running. 28% of you said wrestling. 32% of you said competitive lifting. And 30. Anne-Marie, you just changed the percentages.
No,
Was that
Ryan
you?
already
that just...
voted for
somebody
competitive
did.
lifting.
Okay. For competitive lifting. Okay. 32% said competitive lifting. Anne-Marie was one of them. 28% of you said. Melissa.
I like wacky ones.
What did you just vote for?
No, I had voted for competitive lifting right away because it
Okay.
was the most fun and unique answer.
Yeah. Wrestling
Exactly.
got 28% and 36% of you, barely the highest number. You got it right. It is soccer in Turkey. The most popular
How
sport
fun was this?
in
Larry is
Turkey.
such a delight. I love that guy.
I thought you meant my sports questions. I was
sorry.
like, yeah, see how
also
fun
that.
this is.
Also that.
Whatever. I'm gonna do another one.
Oh, okay. It is fun.
It is fun. It is fun. And there's
Ooh,
sports
full
in
face.
Star Trek.
Mhm. I like when Ryan's doing polls and then we stop talking.
I know. It
Only
makes me
because I know
panic
it
because
drives
I'm
him
like, I need to
crazy.
type faster because they're not saying
Well,
anything, but then I can't
It's so
think
funny.
straight.
It's like very rare to see you be like, oh, what's going on?
Wait a minute.
I haven't been sleeping at all lately because of this World Cup, you guys.
Yeah.
So just, you got to go easy on me. My brain's not working anymore.
Mhm.
And it won't be
Well,
for another
we
couple
never
weeks.
asked the soup question.
Yeah. Well, we will, believe
Now I'm gonna
me.
get so hungry. Already, I think it's Belinda. Somebody said they are trying their hand at making borscht and it's in the freezer. I'm like, ooh, that sounds
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
I recently discovered I love borscht.
Really? I don't think I've ever had it.
Here's a career goal for you, Ryan, to
Okay.
one day be the Portal 47 open house guest. Andrew said he was hoping it was you, but I was okay too. That's how you know you made it, though.
Yeah.
All right. So this next most popular sport is in the Philippines. What's the most popular sport in the Philippines? Is it rowing? Is it basketball? Is it cricket, wireless? Or is it swimming? Swimming, cricket, basketball, or rowing? Well, Melissa, fine. Well, they're thinking
what was
that
the answer
over.
for Turkey? Sorry.
Soccer.
Soccer.
Oh, okay.
Barely. What's your favorite soup, Melissa? And everybody in the live chat, let us know, what is your favorite soup? Do you have a variation? Like, are you like my grandma's tomato soup recipe? She adds just a tiny little sprig of rosemary and ivy leaf.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first soup that popped into my head was tomato soup.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a specific variation.
Just straight up.
I like tomato soup with grilled cheese sandwiches.
Do you like your tomato soup? Do you want it to be a bisque? Do you like it a tomato and red pepper soup? Do you like tomato and basil, or just straight like tomato and shut up?
I do like peppers and basil. That could be yummy. But it could be a pizza in a soup. In soup form.
Oh yeah, you know what my mom makes? It's really good. Potato leek soup. Yum.
Oh.
Potato leek soup. Doesn't sound like much, but it is. Anne-Marie, what's your favorite
Oh my
soup?
God, I'm a major soup. That's like my favorite food group. So I have so many. Chili with like equal amounts cheese and chili.
Whoa, hang on.
Chicago.
I think we need to decide if chili is a soup. I think
in Wisconsin it's a soup.
Is salsa a soup?
In Wisconsin it's a soup.
Is fondue a soup?
Well, no, but
Pancake
French
batter?
French onion soup with tons of cheese also a same like 50-50 ratio. But then I'd say ramen, but then also my parents make like the best chicken or turkey soup in the world. And like, my dad makes it, like my ancient relatives made it, where they like really use all the remains of like Thanksgiving dinner, like when people would use like every single thing ever left over. And it just like, oh my, it's so thick and amazing. And my mom puts like rice wine vinegar in it so that like some of the extra calcium comes off of the bones. And it's just like, oh my God, it's so like frothy and hearty. And then
Do you like crack the bone open and like suck out the marrow or
no,
what?
but it's just, it is like to die for. It just fills the house with like the most amazing
You know
smell.
who did die for that?
Yes, I know. Well, they were already done from the Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, then hot and sour soup. I love all. I'm a soup fanatic. Any lentil soup. It's my favorite meal. And the soup Nazi's downstairs from my apartment, but I will say
I know the soup Nazi, Larry Thomas. Yeah. He went to a college I went to that's like a few miles away from where I live.
The one
Los
that like
Angeles
has the
Valley
billboards
College.
everywhere. That's based on him. Like I will say, I don't think there's
the original soup Nazi. Oh, that's cool.
But I don't think there's like, you always see like tour buses coming and then like 100 people getting in line for this little stand. But like, it's definitely not worth it. I think like the other soups, like I have a very heavy soup competition in this block because of that. But I'd say like his is my least favorite. But yeah, I just love soup. It's delicious. Now I want soup. Oh, and I love, shout out to Marriage Cup of Noodles. I know it's like shitty, but it's just so delicious.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
And your favorite soup?
Well, we've got a new poll right now, and that poll, that poll question is chili a soup? And the answers are yes or no, grow up. So is chili a soup? Now, the answer to the most popular sport in the Philippines, 13% of you said cricket, 22% of you said swimming, 27% of you said basketball, and 36% of you wanted to get tricked because Ryan was like, they're going to think islands and it's rowing, but it's not. It is basketball, actually. It is the most popular sport. Basketball is the most popular sport, I think, in 3 countries. Lithuania, Latvia, and not Estonia. Estonia, it was skiing, just like in Austria or in Switzerland. And then, no, Austria. And Philippines is the 3rd one with basketball. Boy, what fun it is to ride.
Well, yeah, I was going to say basketball, but basketball has been an option almost every time.
So is soccer. And when I added turkey, and this one was the correct answer was soccer. I was just typing that in when Larry was like, I guess no answer is going to be soccer now. And I'm like, shit. People are going to figure it out because I'm literally putting one that is soccer. My favorite soup, I don't know. I do like lentil sometimes. My Spanish grandmother used to make lentil soup that was really good. My mom makes a pretty good ragu. I think a ragu is technically a soup with couscous.
Ragu soup and not chili.
Well, chili is meat and beans.
That's Midwest soup.
Well, look. Okay. Well, hey, don't kill the poller.
Okay.
The pollster. In our current live poll, is chili a soup? 28% said yes. 72% said chili is no soup for you.
So I'm like learning so much. In Wisconsin, I like never even thought to say that chili isn't a soup because it's such a like staple of that's the soup. So intrigued.
Yeah, I think it's a different category though, because there's soup and then there's chili.
Yeah, because gazpacho is technically a soup, and gazpacho is pretty good. Mm-hmm. I remember when I first tried gazpacho, I was like, wait, it's like cold soup, not interested. And it was like tomatoes and I was like, it's like salsa, but man alive, is that good? It's making my mouth water just thinking about it.
Yeah, but then one time I had gazpacho and a Bloody Mary for lunch, and I was like, ew, I'm like eating and drinking the same thing. So then I needed like a year, I needed a couple years off of gazpacho. It like grossed me out. But now I'm back to loving it.
That's cool. Yeah, that reminds me when one time I was going over to my friend's place and what was it? He had like a goose hanging upside down with its head cut off, and the blood was dripping out of the neck into a pot. And he says his mom lets it like curdle and harden, and it kind of turns into like a gelatinous soup or something like that.
In the live chat, like early on.
Really? Because I mentioned
yes.
there was like a goose, and then I was like, do you just eat it like that? And he says, well, yeah, you just put it in a bowl and then you add a bay leaf to it. Yes, that's their little garden. And I was like, does the bay leaf actually add flavor? I guess it probably does, right?
When you're cooking
but I didn't want to try
spaghetti sauce.
I didn't.
Literally
I was too
never
shy.
heard of this until the beginning of the live chat tonight. Wow, interesting.
Oh, Galenda says, Ryan, but please don't grow up. You are awesome just the way that you are. Thank you, Galenda. You too. See you guys.
Oh.
Pea soup is yummy too.
Yeah. Peter C says Italian wedding soup. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
I've
good
never
one.
met a soup I don't like. They're all so yummy.
Really?
Soup's my favorite food, I think. It's so good.
Even gazpacho?
I love it all.
Even like minestrone, that's kind of boring.
Oh, it's so good.
No, minestrone
and they're all so
is
good with
packed
meat
with
or with bread.
Vegetables and pasta and good flavors. Yum.
Yeah,
and beans.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yum.
Okay. Fine. We all love soup.
Like mushroom barley. It's all so good. Delicious.
No thanks to the mushroom barley. Thumbs down.
It's so good.
Congeal. Thanks, Galenda. That's the word we're looking for. It kind of congeals. Yeah. Okay. So pea soup like a dense fog.
I also love talk soup. David Gregory. Oh my god.
Talk soup.
Was like, oh my god, with John Henson, that was like peak TV. Oh, so good. That's how I got my news.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Anne-Marie, you had a fun little article for us too, right?
Yes. So
this is from trekmovie.com. Well, give us the intro to it.
Okay. So basically, now I'm caught up on soup talk. I know that just made me hungry so much. Me too. Good to go for soup after this. So basically, Paramount Plus.
What kind of soup are you going to go for after this?
I don't know, because like one of the travesties of the pandemic is that we used to have so many there were
gumbo.
Amazing soup
oh my
places.
God, gumbo. Disneyland used to have like this vegetarian gumbo in a bread bowl, and I used to eat that like nobody's business. Broccoli cheddar is good too. Ooh. French onion soup used to be my favorite, but it's hard to find it not
it's
made
hard
with
to find
beef
a good
broth.
One.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's usually made with beef broth, and then I get all like wimpy about it. I'm like, does it have beef broth in it? And they go, yes, there's a little bit of beef broth, and then I shouldn't eat it. I'll just smell it.
Zoot.
Zut alors. Anyway, please continue.
Basically, well, a bunch of places like closed because all the people aren't working during the day to go get there was like such a huge like soup at lunch market. And so unfortunately a bunch of places closed. But yes, they're all my favorite. Anyway, so Paramount Plus put out this, they're doing all these like really cool things. And one of the cool initiatives they did was saying, like putting out a guide about all the different things you can watch that are holiday themed or get you in the holiday spirit on Paramount Plus. And of course, certain Star Trek episodes were included. So then Trek Movie did an article feature about which of the Star Trek episodes were included in this like massive list for Star Trek, which as I clicked on the Paramount Plus like massive list, they really had to like go through tons of stuff to find the Star Trek ones. I don't know if it got like differently organized since then, but yeah, that's why I sent you the Trek Movie condensed version, because they did all the legwork for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know,
how?
but also I didn't look at the list because I wanted to be surprised when we talked about it on the show. Because I know my personal holiday favorite episode to watch of Star Trek, but I don't know if it made the cut.
Well, let's check it out. We've got our final poll of the day. The question is, what is the most popular sport in Mongolia? What is the most popular sport in Mongolia? You know, that fun oval-shaped country in between Siberia and China. Mongolia. The options are archery, horse riding, wrestling, or shooting. Once again, archery, horse riding, wrestling, and shooting. Melissa's shooting her beverage of choice.
It's delicious.
Shooting her snooter. Sweet. All right. So yeah, Trek Movie did a great job writing up this article. And let's just skip down to, so these are the good holiday time episodes of Star Trek. And here they are in no particular order, except this is the order that they put them in. Dagger of the Mind, original series, season 1, episode 10. We also have.
Yes, that's the one where it's so weird because they
Science Lab Christmas Party.
A Christmas party on the Enterprise, and apparently these two hooked up as a Christmas party. And it's like awkward when they see each other on the transporter pad. And I want to know like all about these weird, awkward, like way too casual Christmas parties on the Enterprise. Because like, what is the situation if you have a holiday Christmas party for your office that gets out of hand, but you also live with everybody? It's very weird and awkward. I love it.
That sounds like something Lower Decks would do, is kind of the little slice of life kind of thing.
Yeah. And then like the little joke is that her name is Noelle.
Now the second one, oh, Noelle, that's cute. Oh. The second one is Devil's Due, Next Generation Season 4, Episode 13. Why is this
Ardra?
one? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. A Christmas Carol.
Oh, I love this.
But that's the one with Ardra, yes. Data plays Scrooge.
And
Cute.
Thekla.
I had forgotten about that. Also, oh, I know why. Yes. Tapestry, Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 15. That's because they're singing that little Christmas Carol thing.
I would also say, so for Tapestry, I would also say it's a little bit of a like, It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a wonderful
but
life.
Also, obviously, I know it's not because like he's alive during it. It's just a different version. But yeah, Christmas Carol too. So special. Okay, and then, so there was an honorable mention paragraph above this, which is where my favorite one falls. Because I love 1159. Like I watch it at least once a year or once a month. It's one of my favorite episodes of all Star Trek. And it just, the way that it captures like
I don't see the
year 2000.
Mention.
It was down more.
No, this is
I'm getting
Dagger
dizzy
of the
now.
Mind.
No, down.
It's out at the
Are
bottom.
Are you using your mouse upside down? Yeah, they were like, here, go back up above that picture. I'm getting dizzy. I'm getting motion sick. Okay, go up a little more. Oh.
Okay.
There. Okay, stop messing with me. Yeah, there.
I'm not doing anything.
1159. Because
the Voyager episode.
It captures that feel of, I mean, it was in Indiana, but I'm from Wisconsin, and like that year, I think it's after Christmas 2000. Like I always especially watch it the week before Christmas and New Year's Eve, because obviously it's at 11:50. It like ends at 11:59 on New Year's Eve. But it just captures that feel of like small town Midwestern states, and it's so freaking cold out.
Just a small town, girl.
And they're like melting, and it's hard. Your car always is breaking down because it's so cold. And and also like it really captured that feel of like those small towns. I'd say now they've been a little bit more like saved and gentrified, but back then they were all like all the businesses were having to leave, and it really encapsulates that slice of life in a really great way that I feel like gets overlooked. So well done. And plus Janeway looks gorgeous in her civvies.
Gorgeous is a strong word.
No, gorgeous.
Travis Taylor says, I call it okra snot.
Yeah,
what are they talking about in the live chat? What did we
I
miss?
was like, okra snot, what?
What did we
Trying to read. And something that compounds but in the skin and water and heat creates that goo.
Okay. Mai and War Dogheim are glad that I stopped at one line of Journey there. Mai says, Ryan, let's not take that road or Journey. War Dogheim says, you are no Steve Perry. Ain't that the truth? No, ain't nobody a Steve Perry, especially not this guy. The answer to the question, everybody's banging the drum. They're like, what's the answer? We got to know. Most popular sport in Mongolia. 5% of you said shooting. The rest of you are like, I'm not falling for that shooting thing again. I just made up shooting. I don't know, but I just made that one up. That just seemed like something people would do. 14% of you said wrestling. 18% of you said archery. And 64% of you said horse riding, because, the Mongols were known for riding horses and being archers and stuff. But the answer is actually wrestling.
Ow.
14% of you got that correct. It is wrestling. And I remember when Iran, their most popular sport was wrestling. And a few years ago, soccer passed it up as the number one sport in their country.
Wow.
So they just had a tough, crushing defeat yesterday by the hands of the US, and they're out of the tournament.
Yeah.
But I still felt really bad for them, because I'm like, I get that there's some tensions and stuff, and there's political stuff and all that, but like, hey, soccer players are just soccer players, and I just can't help but feel bad for these guys, because they got the weight of their world on their shoulders, and they're like, I just want to get a goal. I've been working my entire life to score a goal. I don't want to be in the middle of this thing.
With that. Yeah.
Right.
So I would have rooted for them, but they were playing against USA. So, hey, well, sorry, guy. I'll root for you tomorrow. Oh, it's over for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the end of that poll. All right. So we'll be getting out of here in just a few minutes, but let's go over this week. Boy, there's so much good stuff. A couple days ago, Falling Tower released our review. As you know, for Falling Tower, we were doing 80s sitcom month, and the final episode of 80s sitcom month. Go over to the Falling Tower YouTube channel, and you will find our review of Night Court with actress and producer Kat Guerin. That's a fun one. Remember Night Court? That was a fun show back in the day. And yesterday, the seventh rule, we did our review of the brand new Prodigy episode with obviously Bonnie Gordon joining us for the entire first season. So go check that out on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Also, we've got, oh boy, this is the fun one that I like to say, but I never get it right. This coming Sunday, that's December 4th, go over to the Seventh Rule YouTube channel at Deep Space 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's Deep Space noon Eastern time. And you will see our review of Season 7. This is Deep Space Nine Season 7 review special. It's a great time. Sirach and I take a trip down memory lane, remembering every episode of Season 7. And then on Monday, also on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we've got our review of Deep Space Nine, Season 7, Episode 22, Tacking into the Wind with Kitty Swink. We waited 4 years to get Kitty on our show, but it was well worth the wait. She's a wonderful lady, amazing guest. And check that out. That is on Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, right here on this channel, if you want all of your Star Trek and sci-fi news, we don't screw around like on this show. On Tuesday nights, Virtual TrekCon does the main viewer, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time, live, just like this show. We don't screw around. We don't talk about soup. We don't talk about sports. We're
Unless
like
it's
a
in Star
news
Trek.
service. We're
That's
just
news.
like, psh, we're so professional. right? Anne-Marie,
Yeah, sorry.
what's going on?
Sorry, I was meeting some friends after this and their show got out early. So I just was telling them where I'll meet them. Sorry.
Oh, I thought I was missing something in the live chat. Okay,
No.
cool. So I thought you were going to just say, sorry, Glenn Iverson's
It's
being
Broadway
very
talk.
funny in the
No,
live
and
chat
then my
right
other
now.
friend's visiting tomorrow and we're going to see Yiddish Fiddler on the Roof. So I wanted to make sure I responded to her before she goes to bed.
Mhm.
So she knew the
Mhm.
details. Okay, sorry.
Okay, no, that's fun. You guys go have your fun. And that's about
Because
it
it's
for
directed by
us.
Joel Gray, as seen in Voyager Resist that episode
Brett Gray?
Resistance.
Cool.
Joel
is
Gray.
a legend.
Brett Gray, as
MC
you know,
from
plays
Cabaret.
Yeah.
I always think of him in
He's just
Cabaret.
the best. Yeah, that's him. And then sometimes in Resistance, the Amazing Voyager episode.
Is that like musical theater or what?
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
He's amazing.
I
Iconic. Oh, he also like
0% knowledge of musical theater.
Cabaret, the Oscar winning Cabaret.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I learned about him from Cabaret, and because I love all things Bob Fosse.
My favorite cabaret is Sauvignon.
It's to Proudly Go. We're up for a best recurring cabaret show.
Right. Good tie-in.
All right, let's get out of here. Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel, where can people find you online so they can check out all your goodies and To Proudly Go stuff?
Okay, so at To Proudly Go, and that's how to find the link to vote in the Broadway World Awards, which I'll be forever grateful. And then at Anne-Marie Siegel 1 on Twitter.
That was easy. What about you, Melissa Longo?
On social media at Melissa Longo. Malissa. No E in there at all, except for my middle name. But and the introvertedrepublic.com is where Walking Heart made by Melissa is now. And there is a holiday sale going on where you can get 10% off by entering a code holiday 2022.
It's a holiday in Cambodia. Remember that song? What is that? The Dead Kennedys, I think.
Fun.
Yeah. Our men are dressed in black. Okay. And someone just said something cool. John Patrick Green says he was also in Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. Peter C says Joel Gray was also with Kate Mulgrew in the movie Remo Williams. Okay, cool. Cool. Everybody, you could find me at Ryan TG Husk. That's at Ryan TG Husk on that little blue bird. You can also find me Virtual TrekCon, Falling Tower, and the Seventh Rule right here on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, and sometimes even Instagram, if you could believe that. Sometimes on the Pro Beach volleyball courts. Like I'm walking through them to go to the water.
I like
Anyway.
volleyball.
Yeah.
I like beach volleyball. It's fun.
We should have put volleyball as one of the options for like Philippines. They would have been like, they have a lot of beaches there. That's probably it.
I would have voted for that.
That would have been a good one. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I remember China being really good at indoor volleyball. So that would have been a good trickery one in the Olympics. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. When you want to talk about, no, that's main viewer stuff.
Oops.
What I'm trying to say, everybody, is have a chill weekend. Eat soup.